and welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Christina, and today I'm participating in the Mystery Box Challenge. If you're not familiar with the Mystery Box Challenge, it's hosted by my friend Courtney over at Creative on the Cheap. She gets some of us DIY YouTubers together, and each one of us are assigned another YouTuber that we have to send a mystery box full of goodies to. In each box, there are 2 challenge items that we have to DIY with, and then there's also a twist. My box today was sent to me by Courtney, and I sent my box over to Wendy over at White Sparrow Living. I will have a link down to the playlist so that you can check out everybody's videos that are included in today's Mystery Box Challenge. Now let's go ahead and open up the box that Courtney sent me. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous because this is my first time that I've ever taken part or participated in the Mystery Box Challenge, and I've heard that Courtney can send some pretty challenging items, so I'm kind of scared. But it'll be okay. It will be okay. Let's see what she sent me. If I can get the box open. I only have a few minutes because I'm going to have to pick up my son from school here soon, so hopefully we can get through this pretty quick. Okay, so first there's a card, and it says, Christina, I'm so glad to have you in this round of the mystery box. I tried really hard to not be hard on you, but it is a challenge after all. I know you will do an awesome job. Can't wait to see what you do. Courtney. Okay, and then the twist. Let's see. Oh, we're gonna save that. We'll save that for when I do the mystery items. So we have the challenge item 1 that's wrapped, and then the challenge item 2. Oh no, I'm scared. It says sorry. So I'm sure this one's gonna be pretty challenging. Okay, oh good. Some eucalyptus. I actually use these all the time in my DIYs, so this is really good. I'm excited about this. I know I can do some good stuff with those. Cute little wood arrow. This, I know, I love these from Dollar Tree, so I'll be able to maybe do something with that. Oh, what is this? Oh, that's nice. A Victorian doily. That's really cute. I love that. This looks like maybe a thrifted item here. It's like a little jar. I'm not sure what that is, but that's kind of cool. I like this. So she paid $1.99 for it. Pretty cool. A wood round. You cannot go wrong with a wood round. These are always great to have. So far, I'm feeling pretty good. Some of these white little rocks here. These are always good to have. Let's see what else. This one's kind of wrapped, so I'm assuming it's breakable. Oh, that's cute. I actually haven't seen these yet at Hobby Lobby, or this might have been from another year. 2020, yeah, but this is cute. You can take this off and do something cute to it. You can always use the little house shapes. Those in wood, ceramic, whatever, they're really popular, and you can do so many different things with them. I'm kind of feeling like a doily lace vibe. This might be really good for like Easter or spring DIYs, so I'm loving this. This is one of the tote bags. Oh, I love these. Yeah, that's really cool too. So far, I'm still feeling pretty good. These are the little silver napkin rings. I think you can get these at Dollar Tree, if I remember correctly. I think I have some of those in my stash. Some little pink flower coasters. These are really cute. Spring DIYs. I'm excited. I could definitely use those. Oh, I actually have this. This little pumpkin sign. This is from Hobby Lobby. I have this. I love this just the way it is. But I already have it. Maybe I can turn that into something spring related. We got one of these from Dollar Tree. Just a cute little sign. Those are always good to have. Oh, she sent me some paint. Let's see what's in here. If you hear some noise, that is my dogs upstairs. They are, who knows what they're doing. I have 2 crazy dogs, so sorry if you can hear them. All right, so we've got the Waverly paint, and this one's in sandstone. Oh, I love this. And of course, Waverly is like one of my favorite paints. So thank you, Courtney, for sending that. I actually don't have that color. And then some metallic beads. These are always good to have too. So far, pretty good. We've got one more. These look like iron hangers. Yeah, actually, or it looks like a candle holder maybe, like wall candle holder. These are good too. Good job, Courtney. This box so far is really good. Now on to the mystery items. Maybe we'll do the twist first. Let's do the twist first, and then I'll get to the mystery items. Or these challenge items. I guess all of it's kind of a mystery. Okay, so my twist is to work a plastic water bottle and one challenge item into the same DIY. Okay, I think I can do that. And now for challenge item number 1. Let's see. What do we have here? Okay, so this looks like they are 6 felt shapes, 2 glitter, and 4 solid. These are just like little things to go on a treat bag, I guess. That's not too bad. I think I can do something with this. I'm actually surprised that this isn't something more out of the box, but I think I can do this. This is okay. I'm okay. But then this one says, sorry. And it feels like maybe something stuffed, maybe? I don't know. Oh, not stuffed, but it's slippers. I think these are slippers, right? Yeah, women's slippers. Oh, Courtney. This might be kind of hard. I'll have to think. I have a few days that I can think on it before I have to make anything. So this actually is okay. It's not too hard, but this is definitely challenging. That was everything in the box. I'll be back in a few days to DIY, and then you can see what I come up with. For the first DIY in today's video, I'm going to be starting out with this dry erase board that Courtney sent me, and then I'm also going to be using the Waverly chalk paint that she sent me in the color Sandstone. And the first thing I'm going to be doing is just painting the entire frame of the dry erase board with this paint. Another item that she sent me that I'm using for this project is this porcelain house shape, and I'm using some alcohol to try to get off the welcome word that's on the front of it, but it really wasn't working. So what I ended up doing was just taking one of my Cricut tools and scraping that word off, and then just using the alcohol to wipe away like the residue from it. Now, I would have tried like nail polish remover or something else, but I didn't want to ruin the nails that I currently had on. And then once I had the word off, I just took some pliers and pulled away the hanger that was on the top of the house. Next, I'm going to be adding this little bunny picture that I created in Design Space and cut out with my Cricut. If you guys are interested in the cut file, I will have it linked down in my description box, but I'm just getting it transferred to the very bottom of the house shape. And then I also created this wreath that says welcome in the middle. And again, I will have that cut file linked down in my description box. And I transferred this one right in the center of the house above the bunnies. Next, I'm using this really pretty floral paper, and I believe this is from Hobby Lobby. I'm just putting it over my dry erase board and then marking off where I'm gonna need to cut it down because this is gonna be the background. So once I had that all marked off, then I'm cutting the paper down to size. Then I'm just adding the paper to the background of my dry erase board using some hot glue. I probably should have used Mod Podge or another type of glue, but I wasn't thinking. I just grabbed my hot glue and attached it, but it ended up working out fine. So next I'm using 4 of these wood strips, and you can get these in a pack at Hobby Lobby. And I'm gonna be using these around the frame just to add a little bit more detail. So here you can see I'm just seeing exactly how long I needed them to be to go around my frame, and then I'm cutting them down to size. I'm then painting all 4 of the wood strips with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory. Then once the paint was all dry, I hot glued each one of these wood strips around the inside of the frame. Next up, I'm using these gold beads that Courtney sent me, and I ended up using 6 of them in this ivory color that you can see me painting on, and then I ended up using 4 of them with the wild rose color that I'm going to be painting on, and the wild rose color is from Folk Art, and it is in a acrylic matte paint. Then I'm stringing the beads onto 2 pieces of jute. I started with 2 of the ivory colored beads. I strung those on first, and then I did a knot on each side of those beads to hold them into place. Then I strung 2 of the wild rose colored beads on, and then I did a knot on the other side of those. So it's gonna be ivory colored beads, a knot, the wild rose colored beads, a knot, then I'm going to do the ivory color, wild rose, and then the ivory color again with a knot in between each set of beads. Then I'm going to cut off the loose strands of the jute, and I'm going to hot glue the very end knot right in the top corner of the sign, and then again doing the same thing to the other side so that I kind of have like a little garland piece of beads going along the top of my sign. And this is what the piece looks like all finished. I ended up using 4 of the items that Courtney sent me to create this piece, and I think it turned out super cute. Moving right along into DIY number 2. For this one, I'm going to be using 3 of the flower coasters that Courtney sent me. I would have used 4, but as you can see here, my dog got a hold of one of them, so now I'm only able to use 3. I'm also going to be using 3 dowel rods from Dollar Tree, and the first thing I'm going to be doing is painting all 3 of the rods with my Folk Art chalk paint in the color Sage Shadow. I'm also going to be using this mini unfinished wood candlestick piece from Hobby Lobby, and at first I thought I wanted to stain the piece, but then I changed my mind, so I just painted over it with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory, and I only painted the bottom half because you will not be seeing the top half in the project that I'm making. Another item I'm going to be using in this project that Courtney sent me are these 3 napkin rings, and I'm using some hot glue to attach all 3 of them together. I'm then going to be painting them with my Waverly paint in the color Ivory, and then once the paint has dried, I'm going to be using this scrap piece of a burlap. I'm just seeing exactly how much of the burlap I need to go around the entire piece, and then just cutting that down to the correct size. I'm then using hot glue to attach the burlap all the way around the napkin rings. You're probably wondering why I painted the napkin rings if I'm putting the burlap over them anyway, but I wanted you to be able to see some white coming through underneath the burlap, so that's why I painted them. Next, I'm attaching my flower coaster to my dowel rod, and I'm using some hot glue to do that. I just put hot glue on both sides of my flower and then press them against the dowel rod so it's kind of like folded over the rod at the very top. And then I'm gonna start just folding the flower inward and using hot glue in random places just to make sure that the flower is holding together wrapped around the dowel rod. Next, I'm going to be cutting a couple strips of this green felt, and this is more of like in a rectangle shape, just a couple inches in length, and then I'm going to be folding that in half and then just cutting that rectangle into what looks like a leaf shape. And then if you unfold it, you'll see there'll be like 2 sides to the leaf, but if you fold it back over and then just cut a little slit in the middle, you'll be able to put the dowel rod right in the center there, and then you'll have a leaf on each side of the rod. So that's what I'm doing here. So it looks like I have little flower leaves around the bottom of my flower. And then I'm just using some hot glue to hold that stem into place around the bottom of the flower. And I did the same thing for another piece of felt because I wanted to add 2 sets of leaves at the very bottom of the flower. So I just did the same thing for the second set of leaves and then used more hot glue to hold that one in place. And again, I did that for all 3 of the flowers that I'm creating. I thought that I needed a little bit more detail around the burlap, so here I'm using some hot glue to attach the lace ribbon that Courtney sent me in my mystery box, and I'm just attaching that right in the center of the little vase that I've made here. And then once I have that glued down, I then can attach my vase to the wooden candlestick piece that I've painted only the bottom of, and I just use some hot glue to attach the 2 of them together. I'm then using a piece of jute to tie all 3 of my flower stems or dowel rods together. Once I have those together, I'm then placing them inside of my vase, and then around all of the flower stems, I'm adding some Spanish moss from Dollar Tree. Here is the piece all finished. I was able to use 3 of the mystery items that Courtney sent me to create this piece, and I think it is the perfect spring piece to put on a tiered tray. Next is DIY number 3, and for this one, I'm going to be using the arrow that Courtney sent me in my box. And the first thing I'm doing is just removing the hanger that was attached to it, and then I'm painting the entire arrow with my Waverly paint in the color Ivory. Then I'm going to be using 2 of these wood shims from Lowe's. As you can see, they have a larger side on the bottom and then it goes thinner at the very top. And I've already cut both of mine down to 4.5 inches in length. And then I'm using my Folk Art wood tint in the color Walnut to stain both of the pieces. I'm going to be using this scrap piece of wood for my base piece, and it is 4 inches by 1.25, and I'm using that same walnut wood tint to stain this piece. Next, I'm attaching the 2 wood shim pieces that I've stained at the very top of my arrow to look like a roof of a house. And then I'm also going to be using these wood letters to spell out the word hello. These ones are from Hobby Lobby, and I'm painting them with my Folk Art chalk paint in the color Sage. I'm also using this spring word cutout. This one is from Joann Fabrics this year, and I'm using the Folk Art paint in the color Wild Rose. Next, I'm attaching all of my letters to spell out the word hello at the top portion of my arrow, and then I'm going to be attaching the spring word right underneath the word hello. Now you can probably see that I have a bunch of glue at the bottom of my piece, and that's because I was originally gonna put a fence along the bottom and then I changed my mind and pulled it off. So now I'm just gonna be using some reindeer moss from Dollar Tree, and I'm attaching it to the bottom portion of the sign using some hot glue. Then over top of the Spanish moss, I'm going to be attaching some of these really cute pink flowers, and I believe these ones are from Joann Fabrics. I'm cutting them down pretty small, and then I'm using hot glue to attach them in the Spanish moss. Then for the very last step, I'm using hot glue on the bottom of my arrow and placing it right in the center of my base piece. This is what it looks like all finished. It was so easy, and I think it turned out super cute. For this one, I did only use 1 item that Courtney sent me, but I really love it. Now it's DIY number 4. For this one, I am using this Autumn Acres pumpkin sign that Courtney sent me in my box. The first thing I'm doing is removing the hanger off the back of the sign, and I do realize that it's a little bit out of focus, so I'm sorry about that. And I'm also using this bunny paper that I picked up from Hobby Lobby, and I'm placing the paper over top of the sign and then just marking around the edges so that I know exactly where I need to cut my paper down. And then I am going to be leaving the frame of the sign the way that it is now, and then just adding the bunny paper to the front of the sign, and I just used my glue stick along the back of the paper to attach it to the middle of my sign. Another piece I'm using is this one here from Dollar Tree, and I'm painting it with my ivory colored chalk paint. Then once it was dry, I wanted to add a little bit of a rustic feel to it, so I'm using some of my espresso paint, and I'm going around all of the edges of this piece. And then this piece did have some grooves in the center, and I really wanted those to stand out, so I used a little bit more paint to make those areas pop. I'm going to be adding this Happy Easter wood cutout, and this one is from Hobby Lobby, and I'm painting it with my folk art paint in the color Wild Rose. Now I get to put everything together. I'm using hot glue on the back side of the bunny paper piece and then just placing that right in the center of my other wood piece. And then I'm hot gluing my Happy Easter piece right in the center over top of the bunny paper. Here is the piece all finished. This one is super simple and really easy to do, and I just love how it turned out. Next up is DIY number 5. And for this one, I'm using this jar thing. I'm not really sure what it's called, but Courtney sent it to me in my mystery box, and I've already removed the top portion of it. And then I'm also using this doily that Courtney sent me in my box. I put the jar in the very center of the doily, and next I'm going to be attaching the doily to the jar. So I'm just placing some hot glue at the very top of the jar and then pulling the doily up and around the top to hold everything into place. So once I have the doily attached, I thought it would be really cute to add some of the white rocks that Courtney sent me. So I'm just placing some of those rocks inside of the jar. After I had the rocks added, I still wanted to cover up the hole that you could see in the jar from where I removed the lid. So here I'm using some nautical rope to cover that up and make the top look a little bit more put together. So I'm just using the hot glue to attach the rope, and I did 2 rows of the rope. Then I needed something to put in the jar, so I thought these succulents that I had in my craft stash would be perfect, and they are mini and the perfect size. I believe these ones are from Amazon, but I got them a few years ago. I'm just placing them over the rocks, and then for the very last step, I thought it would be super cute to add this really pretty like pink peachy ribbon from Dollar Tree. I just placed it around the middle of the jar and then tied a bow on the front. And this is what the piece looks like all finished. Who knew that a random jar and a doily could make such a cute little accent piece for spring? I was able to use 3 of the items that Courtney sent me in my mystery box to create this piece. Now for DIY number 6. For this one, I'm using this large wood piece from Hobby Lobby. Sorry about all of the mess around. I'm a very messy crafter, so you'll just have to excuse that. I'm using my folk art wood tint in the color Walnut to stain this entire piece. Then I'm going to be using these 2 iron pieces that Courtney sent me in my mystery box, and you can't really change these too much since they're pretty thick iron, so I'm just going to be placing them on my sign. But I thought they would be really cute if I just randomly painted some of this ivory colored chalk paint over top of them so that some of that iron like brown color still poked through and they just looked like distressed. So I really love how those turned out. And then I'm also using the wood brown that Courtney sent me in my box, and I'm painting that with that same ivory color that I painted on the iron pieces. Then I had this stencil that says "Live Life in Full Bloom," and I thought it would be really pretty on this round piece, so I'm just getting it centered, and then I'm using some painter's tape to hold everything into place. Now I am only going to be using the words on this stencil, so I am taping over the wreath that's around the words. And then for the top portion of the stencil, I'm using the color Sage from Folk Art, and then once I get to the bottom for the word that says bloom, I'm using my Wild Rose colored paint. After the paint was all dry, I'm then removing the stencil, and I wanted to give this piece a little bit of a distressed rustic look, so I am using some of my espresso colored chalk paint, and I'm just very lightly dry brushing around the edges of the circle, and then just whatever was left over on my brush, I'm running along the front. I'm also using 2 of these mini terracotta pots. These ones are from Dollar Tree, and I'm painting them with my ivory colored paint. To fill my pots, I'm using some of the eucalyptus that Courtney sent me in my mystery box. I am pulling some of the eucalyptus off, and I want the stems to be like individual so that they're a little bit easier to place in my pots. And then I'm also using some greenery flowers from Michael's. I put the ones from Michael's in the center, and then I did the eucalyptus around those, and I did that for both of my pots. Then it was time to start putting everything together. I did both of the hangers on each side of the wood piece with the wood round with the stenciled words in the middle. And to attach the hangers, I ended up just placing a nail on the top part. And then I also did some glue underneath, but I accidentally forgot to film that part. So it's held by glue and then hooked onto the nails that I just did. And then I used hot glue to attach my wood round right in the center. And then for the last step, I just placed my pots in the holders on the iron pieces. This is what it looks like all finished. I ended up just hanging some beads on one hook and then my car keys on another. You can hang whatever you want on the hooks, but this is what I chose and I think it turned out super cute. And for this project, I did end up using 3 of the items that Courtney sent me in my mystery box. Next is DIY number 7, and for this one I'm going to be using the white tote bag that Courtney sent me in my mystery box. And the first thing I'm doing is removing the tag, and then on this tote bag I'm going to be using this Bloom Where You Are Planted stencil from Amazon. Any stencils I use in today's video I will have linked down in my description box. And then I'm taking a random piece of cardstock and I'm placing it inside of the bag so that when I'm painting the words on, they don't bleed through to the other side of the bag. I'm getting the stencil centered on the front of the bag, and then I'm using painter's tape around all 4 sides of the stencil to hold it into place while I'm painting. The paint color that I'm doing for the word bloom, I'm using Wild Rose, which you've seen me use in multiple DIYs in today's video. And then I'm also doing the bottom word planted in that same color. As you can see, I've taped off the words in the middle so that I don't get any of this paint color on those words. Then once the paint was dry, I removed the painter's tape, and then now I'm going to be painting the words in the middle with the sage color chalk paint from Folk Art. And I did just use some painter's tape on the top word and the bottom word so that I don't mix any of those colors together. I let all of the paint completely dry before removing all of the painter's tape and then the stencil. The bag still needed some details, so I thought it would be really cute to add this lace ribbon that Courtney sent me, and I'm going to be just cutting it down so that it'll fit across the top of the bag. And then to attach the lace, I'm just using some hot glue, and then I did the same thing for the bottom. I had enough of this lace left over that I could do the bottom of the bag as well, and I really think that it looks super cute with both the lace at the top and bottom. So like I said, I did the same thing, just cut it down to size and then use hot glue to attach the ribbon. And then because I thought the bag still needed a little bit of something else, I thought it would be really cute to add some of this burlap fabric. I just had a bunch of it extra lying around, so I cut a pretty large piece of it, folded it up so that it looked kind of messy, and then I placed it inside of the bag. Once I had it in there exactly how I wanted it to be, I am going to be placing the eucalyptus that Courtney sent me right in the center of the bag. This bag is a decor piece. I'm not going to be using it as a tote bag. I'm just going to be using it for spring decor. This is what it looks like all finished, and I thought it looked super cute on my hanger that I have when you first come in my home. And for this one, I did end up using 3 of the items that Courtney sent me in my mystery bag. Next up is DIY number 8, and I am going to be using one of the challenge items that Courtney sent me, and it is these pink slippers. After thinking about what I should do with them, I realized it would be really easy to just pull the pink part of the slipper off. So I got it started with some scissors, and then I just removed the foam backing from the pink portion of the slipper. Then I'm going to be taking one of these wood bunny rabbits, and I'm just going to be using this as a stencil onto the foam part of the slipper. So I'm using a pen to just trace around the bunny, and then once I have it all traced, I'm going to be using some scissors to cut the bunny out. Then I'm going to be using some of this beautiful blue fabric from Hobby Lobby. I picked this up last year, and I've actually already done some spring bunny rabbits with this fabric last year, but I wanted this bunny to match the ones that I created from last year, so I'm using the same fabric. I'm going to be taking the rabbit that I cut out with the foam, and I'm using that on the fabric to trace around so that I can cut my fabric the same shape as my bunny, because I'm going to be attaching this fabric to my bunny. So after I had it all traced, you can see I'm just cutting the bunny out. I'm then attaching the fabric to the top of my bunny, and I'm using hot glue to do that. And I started at the very top of the bunny ears and then just worked my way down. I did most of the glue around all of the outside edges, and I just made sure that I smoothed down the fabric with my fingers as I was going along and gluing down the fabric. Next, I wanted to add some of this white cotton cord along all of the outside edges of my bunny, and I started the cotton cord along the back side of the bunny in between the two ears, and then I wrapped the cord around the entire bunny, and then I used hot glue to attach the cord. And this is just going to cover up any of that white foam that you could see along the edges. Then to add a little bit of detail to my bunny, I'm using this polka dot ribbon, and this is from Hobby Lobby. I used the same ribbon on the bunny I did last year, and I just love the look of this with the blue fabric. So here I'm going to be using it kind of like a scarf around my bunny. I wrapped it around the back of the bunny, along where the head and the bottom portion of the bunny meet, and then just used hot glue to secure that down. I did the bottom of the ribbon in a V shape, so here you can just see me cutting that down. And then I thought it would be so cute to add a little wood button, so that's what I'm doing here, and I'm just attaching that right where the two pieces of the ribbon meet together. Here is the base piece that I'm going to be adding my bunny to, and it is from Hobby Lobby. And the back side of it, I'm going to be using my walnut stain from Folk Art. So I just applied it a little bit at a time, and then I wiped away the excess with an old rag. And then for all of the outside edges or the frame around this piece, I am painting that with my ivory colored chalk paint from Waverly. I thought it would be really cute if I added this white fence from Hobby Lobby, and it normally does have like a bottom piece, but I've already cut that off. And since the rest of my piece has ivory, I'm just going to be using my ivory paint on the fence because I wanted it to be the same color as the frame. And then I am going to be using this welcome wood word cutout, and this one is from Michael's last year, and I'm painting it with my sage colored chalk paint. And then I'm going to be spelling out the word spring with these wood letters. These ones are from Hobby Lobby, and I'm painting all of these ones with the ivory colored paint. Now I can start assembling everything together, and what I ended up doing was attaching my bunny in the center all the way down at the bottom of my sign, and then I did the word welcome at the top and then the word spring underneath the word welcome, and I attached everything using hot glue. Then I thought it would look really good if I added some Spanish moss along the very bottom edge of this piece and then around the bottom of the bunny. Once I did that, I then attached the fence to the bottom portion of the frame, going over top of the reindeer moss and the bottom portion of my bunny. Next, I'm using 4 of these felt carrots, and these ones are from Hobby Lobby. They do have little stickers on the back side, and I just peeled those off. I'm using hot glue to attach them to the sign inside of the reindeer moss. I did the 2 full-size carrots on the outer edge, and then on the inside closest to the bunny, I cut those carrots in half and then glued them in so that it looked like there was 2 different sized carrots growing next to the bunny. And this is what the piece looks like all finished. I love all of the little details on this one, and this bunny will match perfectly with the ones I created last year. And for this one, I used one challenge item that Courtney sent me. Next is a DIY number 9, and this is the final project today. I'm using this challenge item that Courtney sent me. This is an XO felt shape, and for this one I'm just going to start by cutting it down, and I'm going to use the pink part of this felt for the inside of bunny ears that I'm going to be creating. So here you'll just see me cutting it down into several pieces, and then I'm going to be cutting a piece of this down into what would look like a bunny ear shape, and I'm doing that for 6 different pieces. So these pink pieces are going to be the inside of the bunny ears, and then for the actual bunny ears, I'm using this cream color felt, and I'm just going to be doing the same thing. I'm cutting 6 of them down to what looks like bunny ears, but I'm doing these cream color ones larger than the pink ones, since this is going to be the outside of the bunny ears and the pink one is going to be placed inside of the bunny ear. After I have all of my pieces cut, I'm then using hot glue to attach the pink portions right in the center of all of my cream colored ears. For my base piece, I'm using this unfinished wood piece from Dollar Tree, and I'm using my walnut wood tint from Folk Art to stain the outside frame of this piece, and then for the inside, I'm painting it with my ivory paint from Waverly. This is the project in today's video where I'm including a plastic water bottle with one of my challenge items. So here I'm taking an empty water bottle and I'm cutting it in half. I'm then taking one of those halves and I'm cutting 3 different sections so that I can create what will look like tin buckets. I'm then painting all 3 of the plastic pieces that I've cut down with my Folk Art chalk paint in the color Castle. Once the castle colors dried, I wanted to add a little bit of distressing to them, and so that all of the grooves of these pieces in the plastic pop a little bit. So I used my espresso colored chalk paint around all of the outside edges and then in all of the little grooves of the water bottle to make them appear to be like old rustic tins or buckets. I'm using unfinished wood letters to spell out the words carrot and patch. These ones are from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using my Sharpie marker to color all of the letters in. I'm then using hot glue to attach the letters at the very top of my sign. I did carrot first, and then I did the word patch right underneath the word carrot. Next, I'm going to be hot gluing reindeer moss in 3 different sections on the bottom portion of my sign. And then once I have all 3 sections of the reindeer moss attached, I'm then going to be hot gluing my little plastic pieces that I've created into tin buckets right over top of the reindeer moss so that the reindeer moss is popping out over top of the buckets. And then of course I had to add some carrots to this piece. These ones are from Hobby Lobby and I'm going to be using 6 of them. The orange was a little bit too bright for my liking, so I'm using the color Pueblo from Folk Art to tone that orange down a little bit. Then once the paint was dry, I'm then going to be using some hot glue to attach them inside of each little bucket, and I did 2 of them in each bucket. For the last step, I'm going to be adding the bunny ears that I've already created, and I'm just using some hot glue on the front side of the bunny ears all the way at the bottom, and then I'm just attaching them to the back side of the top of my sign so that it looks like I have 3 sets of bunny ears popping out. This is what the sign looks like all finished. I think it is so cute. I'm so happy with how this one turned out. I was a little bit nervous when I found out I had to add a plastic water bottle in with a challenge item, but I think it turned out great. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. I want to thank Courtney so much for asking me to participate in this round of the DIY Mystery Box Challenge. I had so much fun, and you guys be sure to go and click on the playlist that's linked down in my description box so that you can check out everybody's videos that were included in today's Mystery Box Challenge, and I would love to hear which project from today was your favorite. Thank you so much for watching.